Hello, future millionaires, and welcome back to the Get Rich Slow podcast. I am your co-host, Adrian Schermer. I'm joined by Rob Delavan, Lance Johnson, and Sue Hjort. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey,
Great,
good
thanks.
Hey,
morning.
everybody.
So, Adrian, what are we talking about today?
As usual, I'm excited about the topic. This is going to be the launch off for it's an 8-part series on some tax stuff, and nothing's more important than making money if you want to make yourself a millionaire. But the second most important thing is not losing money to the tax man in the process while you're building that wealth and while you're storing it. So, it's all about how you organize yourself, and that's what we're going to go over in this series.
Nice. So we have this is one in an 8-part series.
Yep.
And today's title is Why You Need a Professional CPA. And interestingly enough, we have a spectacular professional CPA, Sue Hjort.
How lucky are we?
And I wanted to share with our audience just just a quick journey of the development of ROI Tax, which is Sue's firm, and the benefit that I've seen. And the short of it is, Sue and I have been working together for years, and we've evolved to the point where we're utilizing tax planning, tax compliance, and financial planning in such a way that we're doing our taxes or my taxes, which are quite complex, before the end of the year. And compliance becomes kind of just one piece of it, but there's no unknown. And this has been a really fun process to learn from Sue, from Lance. Adrian, you've been part of this, but it's just been a blast. And I'm not even doing it justice. Taxes are not something I dread anymore. So
that's exciting alone.
Yeah. So we'll dig into that. We wanted to talk about our recent event. We just did a client appreciation event, and it was incredible. We had Barry Mack Art, which we'll link to our comments down below, and
fantastic local artist.
The opportunity to appreciate, just love on our clients. It was a blast. And in a way that it helps them to kick off this tax season and frankly this whole 2022 year. So
also just promoting all the things we worked on,
right?
The different companies we launched and how we're working together, and the staff improvements we've made, and the processes. It's websites and social media. It was a great year for the 4 or 5 different companies coming together as a unit.
Right. Absolutely incredible. And we couldn't have done it without, each of us. Frankly, Sue, Lance, your guys' efforts were incredible. Website wise, roi-tax.com. It'll be in the comments below, and we'll have some links there. The episode ahead, we're going to be digging in with Sue a little bit. This is episode 1 of an 8-part series, but we'll get a little bit of Sue's story. We're going to basically talk to you guys about why it's important to work with a CPA versus, doing it yourself, online service, those sorts of things. And then what does the process look like to start with a professional CPA firm?
Yep, absolutely. I love this subject because the more you know, the more you realize you really do want to work with someone. It's absolutely self-fulfilling.
Exactly. Okay. So introduction here, Sue, we got to make this a warm introduction for you. So we love working with you. I love to call you a friend, business associate, business partner, referral partner. Incredible. But we want to get to know you a little bit, and trusted CPA is a big deal. And that's definitely in this room. And we want to make sure that we're sharing that with our audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, so let's dig into this. So let's make sure that we get to story. So tell us about your history. Where have you been with this? How in the world do you get started as a CPA? when you're a little one? Was that something you were just had to do? A burning
Okay,
desire?
no one says, wow, I want to be a CPA.
Passionate?
But
There's no
The-
Playmobil
the
CPA set.
start was definitely at home because my dad was excellent at math and so instilled that. So I'm a CPA, my brother is a CPA, and my sister is a math teacher. So it didn't fall far, but I actually did take a high school bookkeeping course, and it was like, okay, this is easy. So went on to college at University of Oregon, and decided on an accounting major after I took a class, and the professor said, yeah, you ruined my curve. Maybe you should consider a major. So I'm like, oh, okay. And it sounded good. So off I went. I started with a Big 8. Right now they're Big 4 accounting firm, and got my accounting license. But that experience is like huge. You have big companies. I mean, one of our clients at Ernst & Whinney was Bank of America, and we were sitting in the Bank of America building in San Francisco. So when I left there and was out of the profession after I got my license, but was at home with my kids for about 12 years, I said, I don't know if I want to go back to accounting, and then needed to have a job. And so my brother had a firm and said, come to work with me. And so we started our Ohanishan CPA firm because that's my name, our family name. And I realized then, and that was where I got the passion, was that I could combine the accounting with working with people. And people are just what gives me energy. I love being out there and being social, and I could help them with their taxes, do a real help, but then also do something that I enjoy, which is getting the math, getting the numbers to work all together. So that's kind of how I came to my wow moment. Was I love this. I love what I'm doing. So yeah, and off it went. I've been at this for 20 plus years with the firm. So
and then Lance, do you want to describe a little bit of the evolution of the relationship the last couple of years?
Well, yeah. So the last 29 years, as a financial advisor, you got to get through the tax gatekeeper. So in a lot of the big companies, we're not allowed to talk about taxes or anything. And so being owner of a tax, being licensed one in the past as a LTP, I have knowledge on it. And I knew clients were meeting with CPAs in March, April, May. And, it's an incredible hard job where you're condensing a year's worth of work or 3/4 of a year's worth of work into 3 months. It's really hard on an individual and really hard on clients. And so then we established, well, what if we started working on this in the fourth quarter and started to answer some of those questions when they meet with Sue, and they would say, well, what if we did this? And be like, man, that's a great idea. Man, that would have been great to talk about that in November or December when we could have implemented that thing. And so then light bulb goes off several years ago about what if we start moving some of these clients to fourth quarter reviews? We can actually give that advice in a timely fashion. And so then the tax return becomes more of a compliance formality than, oh my gosh, and then go from there. So, and that's where, your relationship with Sue and me brought us together, and we found out we had more in common, but it takes time. I mean, there's a difference in her process than my process and coming together. But when you can have that 1-2 punch done in that fourth quarter, I think that's some of our best work that we do for clients. It's like you experienced.
Oh yeah.
You hated taxes, and now you like meeting with us so we can solve some of those problems. You feel like you're much more proactive. Right. And that doesn't happen when you do taxes on your own. You just he's like, you do it last minute instead of proactively. So.
Right. Okay. And I think it's important to acknowledge just that relationship. It obviously drives both of you, and doing that high level of work for the client. So, yeah, that's just it's been absolutely fun to watch and a privilege to be a part of.
Yeah, we agree.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so this brings us to our second question. Perfect segue. Why is it important to work with a CPA versus an online service?
How much time do you have? Okay. I could go on for days, but let's try and condense it.
Right.
It really is that one-on-one experience. And every tax situation is different. I mean, it may seem like, okay, everybody's got this kind of income and this kind of income, but it isn't. You know, maybe this person owns a piece of property, this person has a business, somebody inherited money, you know, and everybody, like you'll talk to Lance and already has different dreams. And so you can't do anything like that with online. There's questions, you answer them, it moves you forward. And online is all about compliance. And you can't, as much as they tell you on the commercials that there's a person you can call and talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, that person doesn't know you. That person doesn't
It's a different
have
person every time.
Yes, they don't have a half an hour to, you know, hear your story, or an hour or several meetings to find out what's going on and do that tax planning in advance. You're doing it right there and then, and all you want to do is get it done. And I've had so many people. Last year, I did my taxes online and got 10 letters. That's why I'm here this year. So, you know, as many questions as they ask, it's confusing. I mean, that's why we go to class and take classes. It can be confusing to us sometimes, and how many times the government changes the tax law. So yes, if you've got anything beyond a W-2, you need a CPA.
Right. And there's just, I mean, you're touching on that, and there's future episodes and topics here, but this concept of there's an actual big picture, individual customized strategy for each person. And that doesn't even exist. Like the concept isn't even there online.
No. It's totally compliance, and that can be fine if you're 20 with a W-2, but the minute you start thinking about your future, I need retirement, I need a house, I have kids, then you need a CPA.
Right. So okay. Adulting 101, right?
Yes.
Any further thoughts on that, Lance?
Yeah, I mean, it's just everybody has a story, right? And so for the 5 to 10% where it's, I went to work, I collected a W-2, I came back home, I complained about how much taxes they took out of it, and then I have so much and I'm really not progressing. There's programs out there you could do it yourself. And then there's the 90% other people that need to apply their personal story and figure out the options. And I think people only know what they know. And so if you're a proactive person, which a lot of us are not, or reactive, if you took a proactive approach and did things a little bit further earlier in the steps, you would actually find that there's things that you could be doing today that would reduce your taxes for 2022. It's just, did you do them? And if you didn't, you pay your taxes. And I just think, somebody like Sue or myself can sit down with you and figure out, man, these are things that you need to be doing in January.
Yes.
And I use examples in financial planning. We know everybody's going to have a Christmas expense in planning. So why not start saving for it now? Why get to Christmas, not save for it, knowing that there's going to be an expense, and then put everything on a credit card? It's like, it's just getting people ahead of the curve to be able to take advantage. And I think what Sue does a great job on is helping people just say, hey, there's things you could be doing now that would make it better for you. and let's get going on it and help
Right.
them through those sticking points. And
Right.
she does an awesome job. So
Yeah, it's yes this year, but then what about next year and the next
and that's
year?
the difference
Yeah.
is those people that do yourself, they're like, they didn't think about it until all of a sudden it's like, oh my goodness, I got to
Right.
do taxes. I'll just go online and do it. But they're not really addressing the proactiveness of redoing their. And so I
Right.
think that's the difference with working with somebody is we're gonna sit there and proactively look at it and give you a list of, 5 to 10 things you could be doing during the year that would improve your tax return so that you're not meeting with her in April going, how come my taxes are so much? Well,
Right.
what should I have done, Sue? Well, we should have started.
We've
this
even had
process.
clients who changed where they were going to buy a house based on which county. Just be on the right side of this line, and you'll have less taxes for your business. That's
Right.
not something that you're going to go on a website and they're going to say, "Hey, by the way,
Right.
if you had bought a block over, you would be paying, X% less than you are on your local business tax."
That's
Right.
a great point.
Bingo. And it's the same
Massive.
even on residential homes,
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
block over. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. Adrian, it's a good
We have a
point
client doing that right
because-
now. Like
Oh,
we have a
okay.
mutual client literally doing this currently.
Yep.
They're working on grabbing a condo on the right side of a line because they made that mistake. And it's
Yeah.
worth it
That's
to them. It's
good.
worth it to them to shift.
Yeah. And there's so much depth there, Adrian. I know you have stories for days
Yeah.
of, you're
all do.
qualifying
ramble.
somebody for lending.
Mhm.
And it's just, it's a nightmare and they're going, well, hey, this is what I made. I'm fine, right? Well, actually you did your online taxes and you have to go back. And actually we've had Sue fix
Oh, yeah.
some before.
Yep.
Yes.
And then they got it done, but they spent way more than they had ever even thought that they would be saving by,
Yeah.
online. So,
And a day at the IRS office waiting in line.
oh, geez. Yes.
Mid
Yes.
transaction.
Yeah.
That was just a couple months ago.
A
I
specific
remember that.
story. Yes. Oh,
It's a huge point he makes where, somebody might want to save $200 on a tax fee, but then they're going to end up spending $10,000, move twice, plus realtor fees because they made the
Mhm.
wrong decision on what side of the line. And that doesn't seem to make sense to me.
not on the back end, right?
But
Monday
that's
morning.
the proactive
Yeah.
part.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. So, what does the process look like to start to onboard with you, Sue? Somebody realizes, I don't think I want to do online taxes this year. Who do I call? They call you. Go.
Oh, I know this one. They get their shoebox with all their receipts, bring it on in. You
And
want it all,
Sue's-
right? Every document.
Right. And Sue says, I know someone down the street. No. Okay.
Oh, boy.
So I'll either get an email or a phone call and they'll say, hey, my best friend referred me. And so, yeah, I say, okay, let's talk. So we start with a meet and greet, whether or not that's a phone call or a Zoom call or a come in person. And that's a, no charge thing because I want to meet with them and they want to talk to me and look me in the eye. And we want to see if it's a good fit, because sometimes people have different ideas than, I have how I like to work and they have what they want, what they expect. And so we chat and, 95% of the time we're going to make it a go. So they bring in their tax return. I can even talk right there through, oh, this went on. I see you have this. I see you have that. And, oh, this means this or this means that. I'd say over 50% of the time they say, you've taught me more in an hour about my taxes than my other CPA ever did, or what I ever knew, just because I can look down it and kind of get an idea, a picture of what's going on. And then we go from there. I get a little information so I can send them out or send them home or email them a tax organizer that just has a couple pages of questions and then their personal, information that stays very private. And then we get them set up with an appointment. Okay. So, yeah, then they collect their data and give it to us, whether it's by secure portal or drop it off or something like that. And then we put together the tax return or 90% of it and set up an appointment for them to come in and review it. I've looked at it in advance and said, hey, I think there's a few things they could still do. And that's where I say, would you like to, when they come in, would you like to meet with Lance and his team and see if there's a couple things we can do to get something better for you even this year, and start to talk about what next year might look like. And that's kind of where we go with it.
And I'd like to add something to that. Like, so Sue does a great job of onboarding clients and really working with them to talk about options. And then what I try to do is, how do we utilize Sue's time in the most effective manner for clients? So, there's three types of clients. There's the clients that are on it, doggone it, right? They got everything organized, they bring it in. And so what happens is that particular client is really the process of getting the tax return, I'll say almost to completion time, is a lot quicker, right? And so if we're utilizing your time less on organizing a file or your data, and we can get that data ahead of time, when you meet with Sue, it's less about what data you're missing, because we could do that through emails and stuff like that. It's more about, how do I reduce my tax return, and what do I need to do right now before April 15th? And what do I need to do during the year so that we tee up year-end tax clients? Then there's the average that, sometimes they bring it in, sometimes it's aftermath, they're always missing 1 to 4 items and things like that. And then there's the last 30% that are like the shoebox theory of, here you go, Sue. And that's not a really great use of her time.
Right.
When costs are going out of control, right? Everything's expensive for people, including CPAs. And if you're utilizing her times to sort through receipts and do that, you're just not getting it. And like I said, Sue, there was a bunch of receipts and you had to sort through and they just dumped it off and it wasn't organized. What would be your comment to them?
You need a bookkeeper.
Or bookkeeper,
or a new CPA,
or another CPA.
Oh, sorry.
Or will that cost be a little bit more expensive for that?
Well, yes, it's like, because it's not prepared for me this year, I'm going to have to charge you more, but next year you need a bookkeeper, or I can't do this for you. Yeah.
So we want to put clients in a position that they put their best foot forward, tee it up, so we can give you, there's only so much time that we can give under a certain flat rate. And then if not, we got to charge more for it. So we rather give you the most amount of value. And then I start to work with them to get them teed up, so that then eventually teach people how to do year-end tax planning, so that we could really maximize and not have the conversation in April, but have that conversation in the fourth quarter. And that's probably, I think, where Sue and I 100% agree. We don't have to agree about everything, but like, we 100% agree that the clients that do year-end tax planning, they just seem to be happier than the ones that don't.
Well, case in point, right?
Right. You're an example, both of your examples of that. And it's just because clients feel like they're putting their best foot forward. We're putting our best foot forward. She's giving advice that other CPAs weren't doing. I'm implementing them and helping them get that through. And it's that yin yang. We just see a happier client. Those happier clients cost are less and they refer more clients. It's just, we don't understand why more people don't do it this way.
Right. It's adulting, 2.0, if you will. Smarter versus harder. And
the thing that I always like to say is, I don't want any surprised clients showing up in my office and saying, why do I owe? Or where did this come from? And that's never going to happen if they do tax planning, because we know exactly, pretty much we know what the answer is going to look like, and they've already made that happen in advance.
Right.
So yeah, no surprised clients is
Yeah. And
our
let me
goal.
give you an example of that. That client comes in and you owe $6,000, $9,000. Let's just say 9,000. It's a surprise. It was a weird year, different year, blah, blah. And you're like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Now, do you want to know that in April or you want to know it in November? In November, I can decide to curve my expenditures during Christmas. I can't tell you how somebody was like, hey,
Yeah.
you got a $9,000 bill and we splurged on Christmas because it's been a tough couple years. And we went into Christmas and we spent more money on Christmas. If I knew I had that tax bill, that would have been nice to know. So now I got credit card deal. Now I got this $9,000. Man, if I knew 6 months ahead of time, I could have saved for more than half of that and then make the necessary changes. But if that $9,000 bill and you had the Christmas, and then all of a sudden those clients tend to file their tax returns closer to April, May, June, and now you're halfway through the year and you should have made a change in January.
Right.
It's just it's 2 years in a row that ends up happening.
Yeah.
And it's just too much for clients to grasp during a COVID environment. It's a lot. And we would just like to put them in a place of knowledge so that they can control what they need to do and their cash flow. And people are happier if they know 6 months in advance. And Sue looks like a hero.
Right.
And
Adrian can give them a loan because they know what's going on.
You need a house.
Yeah.
Go see Adrian and Rob. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it has nothing to do with the compliance side of things other than getting a step ahead. And we're reading the book, The Goal, that talks about the problem isn't at the moment of taxes. The problem was the year before. We're just trying to teach them how to be proactive. And you're just not going to get that in a online service. You're just not. So it's more of the coping emotional side of taxes that's really where the win is for clients.
Can you imagine if companies were run that way? The accounting team would just come in only in January or February and do all the bookkeeping for the year previous. I mean, it's insanity to think of it that way, but that's the way the taxes are marketed to us, right? You look on TV, some black and white video of a guy covered in papers and, trying to sort through a sea. It doesn't make any sense. If you really think about it, and this is a recurring theme in this podcast, right? It's just forward planning. It's just getting it done, making a plan, and then making it really, I don't want to call it easy because it does take time to do this stuff and it is complicated subject matter, but obviously you want to plan ahead. Obviously, you don't want to have that giant bill or check coming to you. I made that mistake. I had the biggest tax return of my life. I gave the government an interest-free loan for $10,000. That wasn't very bright. Little forward planning as I've been working with you is I can already see the money that it's saving me.
So thank you guys so much for the value here. Sue, incredible. Lance, obviously.
Yeah.
it's we're beating the same drum. But it's just dropping that knowledge. We appreciate it. Sue, where online is the best way to find you, which we'll of course put in the comments.
Okay, so we've got a great new website, www.roi-tax.com. And we've got all sorts of information there and ways to contact me, and you find it there.
Right. And you have, we have our client appreciation events on there. Obviously the educational podcast, webinars, and then the networking referral, small events also that we're doing. So love that. Did we forget anything there, Lance?
Phone number.
Phone number.
If somebody had a direct need and needed to reach out to her today, she has a wonderful staff.
Right. Schedule
that meeting now. Maybe share the phone number. So.
Okay, because it's easy. Okay, so the 503 and it's 477-7773. So a 4, a bunch of 7s, and a 3 on the end. There you go.
Yeah. All right. And we want you guys to stay tuned for the next episode. Again, this is a part 1 of an 8-part series with Sue.
Just the kickoff.
Exactly. The next
30,000
episode,
feet.
Right. We'll be
We're gonna
learning
go
how to
down.
make your 2021 filings simple. And finish us up, Adrian.
Thank you very much. Welcome again to the Get Rich Slow podcast. This is one of 8. Really looking forward to chewing deeper into these for you folks. Catch us next time on the Get Rich Slow podcast.
Thank you all.